Hello. I want to tell you about a book that I just finished. It's Life on the Mississippi by Mark Twain. And Mark Twain is a writer that I have a lot of difficulty with. I feel that he's someone that I should like more than I do. Um, and a good way that I could put it is that I think he's a great storyteller, but not a great not a great novelist. Um, for me, Tom Sawyer is probably my favorite book of his. I'm sorry, favorite novel of his, and that's only because I have very fond memories of it. I think it has one of the best opening. Tom Sawyer has one of the best opening lines of a novel, and it's all caps, and it just says Tom, and it's his aunt yelling for Tom to come downstairs in the morning. I love it. But Tom Sawyer is an extremely fragmented and episodic little story. Um, it's just like a string of little humorous scenes. Huckleberry Finn, which is considered like his greatest novel, which is, I mean, it's great, but it has extreme problems with its plot. About halfway through, it really does start falling apart and getting quite funny. But he's great with characters, atmospheres, his satire, his sardonic wit. It's all there. It's just not put together. Um, I think as well as you imagine that it is, because recollections of his stories are kind of better than the experience of them, in my opinion. Um, Another book of his that I liked is the Connecticut Yankee in King Arthur's Court, but I have problems with that too. Anyway, uh, where I think Mark Twain excels is actually his nonfiction. I've read a few of his things, um, essays, and I read what is it? The Innocents Abroad, which is it's like a sequel to A Pilgrim's Progress or something like that. Um, so Life on the Mississippi begins with like a historical account of the river itself, like geological formations and natural um, natural science, and what it's fascinating to hear him describe adventurers and explorers and scientists of the time still trying to understand the landscape in which they live. He talked about explorers that didn't know where the river led to. I think there was somebody that thought that maybe it somehow connected back into like India or something, or someone thought that it was going to go straight off to the west coast. One of the most interesting things to me was Mark Twain made a point to uh, put the American history in context with European history. So through the different milestone periods of not the development of the Mississippi, but the exploration of the river, how that related to what was going on in Europe. So I can't really remember, but there'd be a milestone, and then he would make a point to say like this was when Louis XIV was reigning, or this was during Napoleon's rise, or different things like that. And for as much as I try to keep learning about any kind of history, for myself, I still kind of have two parallel timelines. The kind of world history and then American history, and to me, it's always interesting to see like how things line up. He makes a point to say how everything in America is new, and when he starts relating it to European history, starts putting it in context that for as young as America is as a country, there were a lot of events that, it sounds stupid to say, but are still quite old, especially when you relate it to like Napoleon or something. Most of the book is Mark Twain talking about his experiences growing up and wanting to be a steamboat captain. He actually talks about the development of the boats and how technologically they were becoming more advanced at an accelerated rate. So there was like the keel boat, and you would have a keel boat captain, and then all of a sudden these steamboats started showing up. Eventually, the keelboat captain is now just a deckhand on the steamboat. And what makes it great is for all of the storytelling that Mark Twain is great at, the fact that it's nonfiction, he's talking about his experiences on the Mississippi River and the steamboats. For lack of a better metaphor, it gives him an anchor to ground all of the storytelling. And to me, it makes it much more successful. He doesn't have to really worry about wrapping up a plot or anything like that. Trying to think if I want to say anything else. It was just so fascinating. Lots of information about American history and kind of boat life or river life or whatever. And then a lot of the stories that he tells, I'll say, are probably highly questionable as far as the truthfulness of them. And it doesn't matter. They're just incredibly enjoyable and fun to read. He has great one-liners that pop up, like very typical Mark Twain zingers, and his wit shines. And it was great. I loved reading it. It was a very enjoyable book to read. It'll probably be a highlight of my reading experience of Mark Twain. Anyway, so that's Life on the Mississippi by Mark Twain. Leave a comment if you would like, and thank you for watching. Bye.